Hey traders, Steven here with thetradersplane.com. It is Friday, November the 19th, getting ready for Thanksgiving next week. So today's our top ETFs video of the week. So let's look at the overall market and then we'll get into some ETFs. So looking at the NASDAQ, the NASDAQ is knocking on doors of fresh highs. It is going to be up pre-market. But what's really interesting is the NASDAQ's going to notch fresh highs. The S&P and the other indices are down, so we'll kind of see, if the NASDAQ pulls down or if the S&P kind of pulls up. So, but right now, I mean, this is still a very, very bullish pattern. It's hard to argue. The NASDAQ should hit fresh highs this morning. I'm interested to see where the market closes. Just based on some other things that I'm seeing. I mean, this is the S&P 500, just a pretty bullish move, right? You got an uptrend, a sideways, and we'll kind of see if that breaks out. But I mean, that's a very, very bullish looking pattern. One thing that I just kind of want to drag over here and pay attention to is really the overall market breadth. This is the percent of stocks in the S&P 500 that are above the 20-day moving average. So you can see that on October 21st or October 20th, that number peaked and is slowly decreasing. Now, let's kind of go back over here and see what day the market peaked. Well, the market peaked on November 5th. So really, the market keeps getting a little stronger and the breadth is just slowly weakening, right? It's just slowly weakening. That's not a big deal at the moment. If this were to fall off a map, then I would be concerned. I'd say, okay, fewer stocks are pushing up the market, but it's clear that even though the market is rallying, that fewer stocks are rallying. Now, I don't use breadth to make trading decisions, but sometimes it is nice to kind of look under the hood a little bit and see what's pushing up the market. And right now we've just had a little bit of weakening underneath the hood. This could kind of turn around and then we could be all good. This could just be part of the consolidation, but I'm going to be watching this, and if the market gets stronger, or this gets weaker, or if this gets weaker either way, then I'm going to think that we might have a pullback that's a little deeper. But right now it's just kind of something to keep the eye on. Not a very, honestly, exciting week for ETFs, to be honest with you. We have the carbon ETF, this KRBN, that is doing really, really nice things. It's really, really been in a nice uptrend for a very, very long time. I mean, this goes all the way back to 2020, so it's been in an uptrend for a year. Consolidations along the way, but it's extended, so I'm not going to get involved in that right there. Coffee actually does look pretty good. You had a nice kind of cup with handle, and then you had a breakout right there, but again, also looks extended. So got a little squirrely yesterday, so maybe a pullback closer to the 60 range with the stop under the 50-day moving average is probably what I would look for in this setup. Cocoa, that looks really ugly. Semiconductors, I mean, they're just on a tear, right? You had NVIDIA reported yesterday, and that popped a lot, about 8%, and the stock was already up a lot. So, you just have semiconductors that are just really, really standing out, and they might be pushing up a lot of the market. So, right now they're extended. I think that this is an industry that, even though it is extended, I definitely make sure your watch list is sharp in the semiconductor industry. See if you can hop on board, because it could very well be a multi-year move. Nat gas, which was a previous winner, was absolutely breaking down now. I could make the case that it already broke down of that head and shoulders pattern right there. So I'm not really getting involved in energy right now because oil is down pre-market. So not really looking very strong right there. Right here we have the iDrive, IDRV, which is kind of the seeks to the autonomous driving and electric vehicle index. Honestly, this chart, it looks pretty good, right? And I would definitely kind of keep your eye on this. Again, I think this one is extended. It is far above support right there. So but it's something that I would definitely have on your short list, because this, along with semiconductors, there's kind of a theme here. There's kind of a technology theme with semiconductors, autonomous and electric vehicles, they're looking pretty good and they're looking pretty steep, and you definitely want to own some. So also kind of keep an eye on those watch lists. But right now it's just extended with a lot of stuff. QQQ, this looks really good, right? And this is going to head higher right here. So that one looks pretty good. But again, a lot of this stuff is just extended. One industry that I did kind of want to put on in front of you that is I'm starting to take notice, hasn't done anything yet, is the Reits. So you can see right here, and they're up a little bit more than 1% this week. And honestly, there's not a lot of exciting stuff this week. So either way, not a big deal. But it's an interesting looking chart. So look at this. You have a cup, right, with handle. You could, not really a great handle, more of a kind of a sideways, but I like nice and neat, and the Reits are looking nice and neat, right? They went up, they went sideways very, very quietly. They actually look pretty good. We can kind of look at another Reit. This Reit is looking pretty nicely, and again, nice and quiet. Sideways, see, that's a relative strength line relative to the overall market, which means it's not outperforming the market. But, and I'd say a big but, it very well could, just because, when something's going sideways, right? I mean, right here, that looks like a pretty good pattern right there. And if REITs start to break out, I would assume that would mean interest rates would break down. But again, we'll kind of wait and see on that. This pattern hasn't developed yet, but sometimes like REITs and utilities, every few years they just have this major move. And the move can really buck the trend of the overall market. Like the market can go sideways and the market could go down, and you have these REITs that just, these interest sensitive industries that break out. So it's not something I'm buying at the moment, but it's something that I'm just keeping an eye on to see if you have that breakout moment, and the market is starting to go sideways or down. I'm really going to be paying attention. One thing that I do have to address is the cannabis stocks absolutely rolled over. Looking at this pattern right here, this was looking so good last week, right? It popped above the 50-day moving average, it pulled back, it rebroke, right? That right there, I know that's kind of hard to see, but it was a really good pattern for a potential, turnaround. But just like I said, there's so even last week, and I think even this Monday, there's been so many false rally attempts with cannabis stocks. Like, it's just so frustrating because even, you get a rally attempt and then it just absolutely rolls over. And this absolutely rolled over and hit fresh lows. I got out of it a couple days ago, right when it was breaking the 50-day moving average. Said I'm out. I'm not going to risk more downside, and I was glad I did that. So this is exactly why we use stop losses. Not all trades work out. Some work really good, but I gotta be honest with you, I would take this trade every time. It just didn't work out. So no big deal. It's all part of the process. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a good weekend.